Someone once told scientists they wanted to feel happier. So the scientists handed them a pair of headphones, pressed play, and watched on live brain scans as the person's brain transformed in real time. Within 90 seconds, their stress hormone levels dropped, their heart rate shifted, their facial muscles relaxed, and deep inside their brain, a chemical explosion of pure pleasure began firing. No drug, no therapy session, no life change, just a song. And here's what makes this truly remarkable. The person wasn't even listening to a happy song. Welcome back to Senior Logic, the channel where we take the biggest questions about life and crack them open with science, honesty, and a little bit of wonder. Today's question is one that every single human being on this planet has experienced, but almost nobody fully understands. Why does music make you feel so instantly, so powerfully, so inexplicably happier? Stick with me until the end, because the final discovery I'm going to share with you rewrites everything you think you know about happiness itself. Let's begin with a scene. Picture a university laboratory, dimly lit, quiet. A volunteer sits inside a large brain scanning machine, an fMRI, with small earbuds in. Researchers are on the other side of a glass window, watching data pour across their monitors in real time. They press play, and what happens next makes one of the researchers actually gasp out loud. The brain, this 3-pound organ responsible for every thought, every memory, every feeling you've ever had, begins lighting up like a city seen from an airplane at night. Not one region, not two, nearly every major system activating at once. The auditory cortex processing sound, the motor cortex twitching to the rhythm, the frontal lobe engaging with meaning and emotion, the hippocampus connecting the music to memories. And right in the center of it all, a tiny, ancient structure called the nucleus accumbens erupting. The nucleus accumbens, remember that name, because it is the key to everything.
Scientists call it the brain's pleasure center. It is the same region that activates when you fall in love, when you bite into something extraordinary, when you win something you've worked hard for, when something happens that your brain decides is genuinely, deeply worth being alive for. This region runs entirely on one chemical, one molecule that controls more of your emotional life than almost anything else: dopamine. And here's the fact that stopped the entire neuroscience community in its tracks. Music, specifically music you love, produces a dopamine release in the nucleus accumbens that rivals the response to some of the most powerful rewards a human brain can experience. We're not talking about a gentle nudge toward a better mood. We're talking about a full biological reward cascade. The same system, the same chemical, the same intensity. Your brain treats your favorite song like a prize it just won. But now, hold on, because researchers discovered something inside those brain scans that took the story somewhere completely unexpected. Something that reveals just how deeply, how permanently, how almost obsessively your brain has bonded with music over the course of your life. They were watching dopamine levels in real time as the music played, and they expected to see the biggest surge at the most pleasurable moment. The climax of the song, the soaring chorus, the note that gives you chills. But that's not what happened. The peak dopamine spike came before, seconds before, in the quiet anticipation leading up to that moment, in the held breath, in the space between expectation and arrival. Your brain wasn't just reacting to music, it was predicting it, craving it, and releasing happiness chemicals for a pleasure that hadn't even arrived yet. Now think about what that tells us. Music has embedded itself so deeply into your neural architecture that your reward system has learned to fire in anticipation. That is not a casual relationship. That is one of the most intimate bonds your brain is capable of forming. And it raises a question. How did music get so deeply inside us in the first place? The answer lives in memory. And this is where things get personal. Think about a song that belongs to a specific time in your life. Maybe it's something from your teenage years. Maybe it's a song that was playing during one of the happiest or most painful moments you can remember. Now imagine hearing that song unexpectedly, out of nowhere, years later. You don't just remember that time, you return to it. Emotionally, physically, almost bodily. The feeling floods back so fast and so completely that for a few seconds, the years between then and now simply collapse. This experience has a name in neuroscience: music-evoked autobiographical memory. And it works like this. During intense emotional periods of your life, Your brain's memory systems are running at heightened capacity. Everything is being recorded with extra detail and extra feeling. And when music is present during these moments, your brain does something it does with almost nothing else. It fuses the song and the emotion into a single stored unit, one inseparable memory. So years later, the song is not a reminder of the feeling, it is the trigger that rebuilds the feeling from scratch, inside your body, in real time, whether you want it to or not. Joy, warmth, excitement, longing, love, all of it reconstructed in seconds by a melody that unlocks a door inside you that you forgot was even there. That's why music feels like more than sound, because for your brain, it is more than sound. It is a time machine made of rhythm and frequency. Now, here's the part I promised you at the beginning. The discovery that quietly rewrites what we think happiness actually is. Sad music makes people happy. Genuinely, measurably, significantly happier. Researchers have spent years trying to understand why human beings, when they are sad, anxious, or grieving, deliberately seek out the most sorrowful, heartbreaking music they can find. By all conventional logic, this should make things worse. You're already low, why pour more sadness on top? But the data says the opposite happens. People consistently report feeling better, more comforted, more connected, more at peace after listening to deeply sad music. The explanation involves a hormone called prolactin. When you experience real loss, real grief, your brain releases prolactin as a biological safety mechanism. It cushions devastating pain. It wraps the sharpest edges of suffering in something softer. It helps you survive the unsurvivable. And sad music, researchers now believe, triggers a gentle release of that same prolactin. But because there is no actual loss, no real wound to heal, the prolactin arrives alone. Pure comfort, no pain attached. Your brain receives the chemical warmth of being held and consoled, without anything actually being wrong. Sad music is your brain giving itself a hug. And that's not weakness. That's not irrationality. That is one of the most sophisticated emotional self-regulation tools the human mind has ever developed. Here's the final thought I want to leave you with, and I want you to really sit with this one. The oldest musical instrument ever found was a bone flute, carved with deliberate precision over 40,000 years ago, before agriculture, before cities, before written language of any kind. In a world where survival was the only priority, someone stopped and carved a flute from bone and played it. Music was not invented when life became comfortable. It was there when life was hardest. It was a tool our ancestors reached for in the cold and the dark, when fear was constant and loss was ordinary and the future was uncertain. They needed it, and it worked then just as it works now. That need hasn't changed. That chemistry hasn't changed. You carry the same ancient brain that sat around a fire 40,000 years ago and felt something shift when the music started. You are the latest link in an unbroken human chain of people who found comfort, joy, and meaning in organized sound. So the next time a song reaches into your chest and rearranges something, let it. You're not being dramatic. You're not being weak. You're doing something your species has been doing since before history began. You're healing yourself the oldest way there is. If today's video gave you something, a new thought, a feeling, a reason to press play on a song you've been missing, please hit that like button. Subscribe to Senior Logic for more videos that help make sense of this beautiful, complicated world. And tell me in the comments, what's the song that can reach you no matter what? The one that never fails. I'll be reading every single one. Take care of yourself, keep listening, and we'll see you in the next one.